Comes in handy just to kind of, this is pretty nice actually, but just to make sure this is going to sit flush. Because this is one of my older boxes which I made and it's not perfect, instead of just strapping this hive, I might even put a bit of tape around it just for a couple of weeks to keep it, to stop the gaps. Yeah, you can see that a little bit of water's managed to get in here, so that's why I keep them out of the rain. But yeah, it's nice, and that's a really nice view. They're both heavy too. Really nice view of both the oldest brood and the newest brood. And
the colour difference.
That queen's still there.
You don't see a lot of colour difference at the moment, just the...
So this is usually much darker, this is much lighter. The reason for that, and I'm going to start closing this up as I talk, the reason that we see the older stuff lighter is because there's, by the time that the larvae, so it's a 50-day process, right? 50-day process from egg to adult bee. The first stage of that is the larval stage. The larvae is eating through that food. Then it pupates. To pupate, it does what a caterpillar does. It spins a little cocoon around itself. Within that cocoon, it pupates. And in the final stages, the worker bees remove that outer layer, so the oldest brood that's about to emerge is actually just that cocoon. And you can see it's a little bit transparent. So this is darker because it's got a layer of propolis. That's lighter because it's just the cocoon. They've recycled that outer layer already. So I just make sure that the slump bars, split bars don't damage the brood as I put that back on. I'm going to put the panel on, and that's a split. So that's actually fit together pretty flush, but I'm going to tape it up anyway just to be sure. So this stuff we buy in 1 kilometre rolls. Works out to be about 10 cents a hive when you buy it in 1 kilometre rolls. If it was perfectly flush, it would be enough just to hold it tight together. So that's really the biggest thing. If you're going to construct your own boxes, make sure they're square, and if they're not, use tape. I don't like to use tape so much because the tape deteriorates and you get this stuff like this on the side of the box, which is really hard to get rid of, and I end up painting over it. So that's why I'll only leave the tape on for a week or two while they need it. In a few days, these guys will have repaired all of the immediate damage, resealed everything, they don't need the tape anymore. I'll take it off. Just make sure that's all flush.
That's a beautiful bit. You've done well.
Yeah, this might have been one of my later stage ones. You should have seen some of my early ones. You could pretty much fit
I've tried building and trying to
fit
fit together. Yeah, wow.
Yeah. I blame it on my tools.
So how many would you say is that like a 5 or a 10,000 bee hive?
Without the honey super, I'd estimate this is up to about 10,000 bees before we split it. So we've probably got about half and half in there, so 4,000 to 5,000 in each. If it had a honey super on it, another 1,000 or so. Yeah. And this old one doesn't have feet either. Yeah, I think a lot of people, when they start out like me, think, oh, you know, all these people have these box designs, but I'll just make something different that is nice, you know. But really, these designs have been 25, 30 years in the making. So there's still a lot of talk in the industry of people trying to make the precise box, and I think in general there's a lot more other things we don't know about these bees, which is, personally, I think there's effort to be put into finding other things out, while we've got boxes that work quite fine.
Yeah, they like
I mean, there's no reason why not to keep perfecting boxes. We can always get better, but to me, as long as the box does some basic things, I don't care that much about design. I stick with the oats because I do think they're the best, and because I've got them now, I'm stuck.
Yeah.
I actually started out just using offcuts of any old timber I had, so there were various sizes, and I've been phasing those out. Instead of doing a split like this, I actually open the box up, transfer, like Frank Hadcock, a lot of that material, put it in an oath, so I can kind of just have these sizes. But I've got some monster hives from the early ones I made, which I just thought, well, I'll just make a big hive, and they're really strong. Yeah, really strong. And
so
I actually use them to completely full, big bit of brood, and each year from those, instead of splitting it, I actually open it up, transfer some, and put it in one of these.
So when you say monster, are we talking?
We're talking probably This plus